We're talking NFL rumors. We're talking Tom Brady. We've got coaching signings. We've got Derek Carr talk. We've got Tommy John surgery or just strictly UCL repair for Brock Purdy and what that means. We got Michael K. CPA talk because, again, this man's first in the building. That's how he rolls. If you're not first, you're last. Michael K. CPA knows that. He knows that. The Fantasy Football Show and all the phone lines and conversation, it all begins right now, broskies. Hit that thumb up button, file on in, let's go.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
What is going on, good people? Your boy Smitty here, live like I am every single Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Doing it live, taking your phone calls, talking fantasy football, talking dynasty, talking redraft, talking trades, rumors, shooting down trades and rumors, shooting down this and that. Part of what we do isn't just to try and blow smoke and try and create controversy, get clicks. I know a lot of people say that about me during smoke season, and you know, I'm thick skin. I don't really care. I care what my great amazing followers think of me, not some passerby person that wants to get negative in the chat. But I just want to clarify for the people that are new that may not know me yet, is we'll talk about anything. Doesn't mean I'm gonna confirm it. Like, let's say there was some rumor today about, I don't know, Lamar Jackson getting traded to the Houston Texans. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Watch it happen. Not going to happen. But if there's a rumor on it, I would create a video. Lamar Jackson going to Houston, and then immediately I'd say, no, it's garbage. Or a better example, a realistic example, is the Chicago Bears. We're going to maybe trade away Justin Fields. And maybe we draft a quarterback with our number 1 overall draft pick, which the Chicago Bears most certainly have in the NFL Draft 2023, the number 1 overall pick. What did I do? I went live immediately. It said, the Chicago Bears going to trade Justin Fields, and then what do I do in the video? Shoot it down.
Wrong. Muy mal.
That is cap.
If it's cap, it's cap. If it's facts,
that is facts.
If it's facts, it's facts. I'm going to come on here and try and shoot you straight and give you my prediction. I'm not always going to be right, but I will do my darndest to be correct and come with the correct and valid take every single time. That's the way I roll. I work for you. File on in. The phone lines will be open here shortly. Michael K. CPA, he's not last, so he's first. If you're not first, you are last, unfortunately, in this world. And Michael K. CPA is on top, today at least. Derek Carr, The Athletic, is reporting that the Raiders have not granted Derek Carr permission to seek a trade. What does this mean? This doesn't mean they're not trading him. A lot of people said, oh, they're going to hold on to him. They're not going to hold on to him. What this means is they don't want to give him control. This is where a player goes, I want out of here. And you say, I request a trade. And you say, you in the back? No, denied. We'll go shop you around where we want you to go. We're not giving you power. You know, we're not giving you control of your destiny or where you want to go, Derek Carr. You're going to go where we tell you to go. That's the whole thing. It's not like a franchise tag situation. So in the case of Lamar, you might say, hey, Smitty, that doesn't jive with what you're talking about with Lamar. How does Lamar have control? Well, first of all, Lamar has control because the acquiring team will want to lock him down to a significant big contract, a long-term deal. If we look at our Brady board, so we added from the top here, we added the Niners and all the Niner potential quarterbacks as a 4th landing spot, as good a landing spot as any of these other 3, really. Well, it kind of goes, Miami and the 49ers and Raiders are the top 3 landing spots. The Jets are the 4th. So I probably need to change this graphic and put the Jets as 4. I think that's probably appropriate at this point, only because these other spots are just absolute fire. They're absolute fire. So we'll make the Niners the 2nd landing spot potentially for a team, or for one of these quarterbacks, whether it's a free agent like like Tom Brady, or a player that needs to be traded like Lamar or Aaron Rodgers. But my point was this. And we got the Raiders at 3. I got to change the entire graphic here. Raiders are the 3rd best landing spot, kind of tied for the 2nd in my opinion. I think Miami's probably number 1. I love the Niner landing spot, but we know how Shanahan can run his system, and maybe it's going to be a lot of McCaffrey on the ground. And so while it's an amazing situation to win a Super Bowl, it's the number 1 spot for any of these quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl. This Miami situation is the best fantasy-wise. But my whole point was Lamar, if he wants out of Baltimore, he's got to get tagged for the Ravens to even retain him, right? And you don't have any long-term commitment there. And if they're going to trade him to a team, the team's going to say, we don't want him unless he wants us. Whereas Derek Carr has no choice. Derek Carr could say, I'm not playing for that team, but we know he's not going to forfeit his money, and he has no control because he's under contract. Lamar can sign his franchise tag tender, get franchise tagged, but he has so much control because if, let's say, the Houston Texans said, we'll trade for him, and Lamar said, no, they can't say yes, Lamar, because Lamar would say, I'm not signing a long-term deal. And then Houston would say, wait a minute, we want Lamar, but is he going to sign a long-term deal? No. Oh, then we're not trading draft capital for a franchise tag 1-year commitment if he doesn't even want to be here. Goodbye. That's the difference between Lamar and the difference between a Derek Carr being traded. So back to the conversation, and I wanted to clarify that point. Derek Carr, he doesn't get any say as to where he's going. He can say whatever he wants. They don't care. They don't want to give him an open door to where he thinks he's got this kind of power and attitude. So they're going to be like, we're sending you wherever we want to send you. That's kind of to explain that. Derek Carr not granted permission to seek a trade on his own accord. The NFL, but he will be traded very soon. The NFL informed teams today that the 2023 salary cap will be a record $224.8 million per club. Sources tell me, and Rap Sheet. This coming from several sources today. And we knew this was coming. We talk about this all the time. So when we say things like on the Brady board here, when we say, oh, these teams can't afford this or that, the Jets are going to, they've already said, we'll spare no expense to bring in a veteran quarterback. Veteran meaning, where's my megaphone when I need it? Veteran meaning Tom Brady, Lamar Jackson, or Aaron Rodgers. That's what we mean when we say veteran. The Jets don't mean, oh, an old timer, or let's bring in Derek Carr. Derek Carr will be an option if these 3 are off the board for him at some point. Then Derek Carr is going to circle around as an option. Or if they feel pressured that they're going to lose Carr, because Carr could get traded quick, and they got to make a decision, and they don't know that they can wait on this, or they're not sure if they're going to win a Tom Brady bid, then they might have to go pull the trigger on Carr. And then they kind of get out, they kind of shoot themselves in the foot in terms of the potential of getting one of these guys. It's going to be crazy. I absolutely love smoke season. I get so amped up for smoke season. Nothing is better than smoke season. Absolutely love smoke season. It's my favorite season. It's my favorite season. It should be your favorite season. I love nothing better than to come on here and shoot down rumors, try and predict rumors, confirm what I believe to be true, and all of that. I'm not out here to spread rumors or be some kind of inaccurate talking head. I am a talking head. And I get tired of people saying, Smitty, you don't know what you're talking about. You can't say this. You can't say that. I can say whatever I want. It's my show. Not to mention, I'm trying to do my very best to predict what may or may not happen. And sometimes we kick around a lot of scenarios. Do I really think that the Brady board, do I really think that all 3 of the quarterbacks will absolutely change teams and land in these 4 situations? 3 of the quarterbacks landing in 1 of the 4 situations. So all 3 of Lamar, Brady, and A-Rod, will they all be in new environments in 2023? I don't know that can happen. I do believe 2 will. But just because I'm trying to predict all 3 of the spots doesn't mean I'm going to be right. It means I'm going to try my darnest to be right. But who saw Christian McCaffrey getting traded to the Niners? Who saw Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams getting traded? Those are really hard things to see coming. That's why I love smoke season. That's why you should love smoke season. That's why we all love smoke season. And this is my favorite time of year. Smoke season. To the moon. Let's get back to the news, then open the phone lines. So this is amazing. $224.8 million cap for every single team in the NFL, which means that these things are very possible. The Jets can bring in Tom Brady if they want. The Miami Dolphins can bring in Tom Brady if they want. The Niners can bring in Tom Brady if they want. I believe there's something along the lines of 11 or 10 to 15 in terms of the most cap space, I believe. Someone tell me if that's wrong, but there's tons of opportunity to bring in Tom Brady, and we can talk about that all you want. I think Tom Brady, if I had to guess, if I went to drop some predictions right now, let's go to the table and let's drop some predictions right now. By the way, on the table, we're going to always have the top super chatter of the year, which is Bob, and Ron is the top super chatter of lifetime in one live stream. So those will always be in this bottom corner. I've done a bad job of trying to keep that atop on all the other pages. I'm going to decide to commit that this is where you're going to find that location. Anybody drops a $20 hauler, you get a total team breakdown and a phone call total team breakdown if you want to dial in. So if I'm predicting landing spots, Tom Brady, we'll put Tom Brady right here. Brady, you can't even see that. Brady, as of right now, 49ers. And you can complain and moan and say, oh, Purdy, prove this, Purdy, prove that. Purdy's having a UCL surgery, and we'll get to that in a second. In fact, we got to go to that first. So cap increase, we're gonna touch back on this. DeMeco Ryans, this is another Niner-related thing. The Texans could hire DeMeco Ryans as their next head coach by Tuesday or Wednesday if the interview goes well. This is phenomenal news for the Texans. I wish the Cardinals were getting DeMeco Ryans. This is bad news for the Niners, who are losing a guy that really helped this club turn this defense around and be the best defense in the entire National Football League. Brock Purdy has torn his UCL ligament and will be sidelined for at least 6 months. Now, what's the UCL? It's the same thing that Josh Allen injured. It's what you always hear reports and reporters say is more of a baseball injury, where you strain it or you tear it. And Brock Purdy tore it, I believe, completely, which is horrible. That's horrible. Now, there are two options. Everybody's saying he'll be out 6 months. He could be back by training camp. Not always the case. They're going to go in. And when they go in, it's either they find out this or they find out that. They could go in and he needs a total Tommy John situation where that's career threatening. That's more than 6 months. He won't likely be back for the beginning of the season. He'll be out for a full year. He may never return. This guy's trying to get a hold of a starting job that really is not exactly his to lose. He feels like he's in the driver's seat in terms of a competition, right? But if it's a Tommy John situation where they can't repair it and they have to restructure the UCL, rebuild it, total reconstruction of the UCL, that's Tommy John's. He's done for a significant amount of time, and then he gets passed over, and then he becomes a backup quarterback. So for everybody that thinks that this is for sure a 6-month injury, and they're like, he'll be back, Smitty, they're not going after Tom Brady. They're not going after Tom Brady. They don't know what's going to happen with them. As of right now, Trey Lance is maybe even playing field with Purdy and maybe in the driver's seat, because he won't be ready until training camp at the very earliest. And I can, even if it's a repair, I could see it being a little bit more delayed than that. Trey Lance is going to get his shot. Unless they trade for Brady, then Brady's going to get his shot. So there's a real good shot that Purdy has just a torn that can be repaired UCL, and he's back by, I would say, a little after training camp. A little after training camp starts. I wouldn't say training camp. And there's still a very significant chance they open up the elbow, they take a look under the hood, and he needs Tommy John's. They can't repair it. It's a total reconstruction. Now, let me tell you this. His inability to even throw, by his own words, this isn't me being critical. This is me saying he's a soldier. He went back out onto the field, and it was reckless and bad decision-making to throw him back on the field and compromise potentially his future. Maybe they could have repaired. We don't know. This is assumptions by me, and some will call this Shanahan hating. But this is me telling you he's a bad decision maker. Bad decision maker. Good offense. Bad decision maker. Shoves this kid back onto the field when he has a totally torn UCL. And he's still throwing, and he can barely throw. And by his own words, he said, I can throw maybe 5 to like not even 10 yards down the field. It hurts so bad. And maybe he took a repairable UCL. We won't know, but we'll never know. We'll never know. Maybe it was repairable, and maybe the throwing and the activity he was forced to do. I know he could have said no, but you're not going to say no in that situation. You got to protect the player. Players always want to play. You got to protect the player. And Shanahan runs him out there, and maybe turns it into something worse. Maybe now he needs Tommy Johns. It's like I get tired of people defending Shanahan. Horrible call. Horrible call. Horrible game. Horrible call. Stop blaming it on that they didn't have enough quarterbacks, and start realizing that he could have had a third quarterback on the roster when he knows this is a position that he can't keep healthy, and you can keep calling it a freak injury. But why were they on to what would have been their 5th quarterback? Why were they on to what would have been their 5th quarterback? I'll tell you why. Because he ran a couple of them up the gut. He ran Trey Lance up the gut and got him injured. And I don't care what anybody says. You can disagree with me. I'm not mad at you for disagreeing with me, but I will say what I want to say. And I believe Shanahan got Trey Lance injured. And that's how I feel. And Trey Lance, if Shanahan would have protected him and invested in the offensive line a little better, instead of worrying about Jimmy G and saving this extra money that you would lose if you cut him, and would have improved the offensive line, maybe Trey Lance would have been in there from the start, and you would have been holding up a championship trophy. But no, now we keep talking about, it wasn't Shanahan's fault. He was down to Josh Johnson. It wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault. Yeah, the penalty, all that. I'm tired of talking about it, to be honest with you. I've said what I've said. People can get mad all they want. Shanahan's not a good coach. He's a great offensive coordinator, and he continues to botch it left and right, left and right, left and right. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say how I'm going to call it how I see it. And if people don't understand it, then fine. Just move around it. Don't get mad at me. That's my take. It's aggressive. I'm upset about it because we've seen a lot of quarterbacks, one of them being one of my moon men, Trey Lance, get ruined by Shanahan. And someone answer this to me. If you disagree with me in the chat and you're mad at me going at Shanahan, call up and tell me why you continue to suffer more injuries by a mile over any other team in the NFL. And don't even dare say it's because it's football. Football is dangerous. My question is not why do players get hurt. My question has nothing to do with football or that football is dangerous. My question is, explain to me why the Niners continue to have astronomical amounts of injuries, more so than any other team in the NFL, and why you were on your 5th quarterback. I don't know the full answer to it. I'm not acting like I have this answer. I'm going to spit back at you. I'm asking somebody that's going to hate on my take to call in and tell me what you think is the reason, and give me a legitimate answer, and maybe you'll enlighten me. I'm open-minded about it. I just want to know, why is Shanahan such a good coach to everybody that loves him? Didn't challenge that play, didn't have a third-string quarterback, put Brock Purdy back out onto the field when he wasn't good enough to play, so you put Josh Johnson in because he couldn't play, and then you shoved the young kid out onto the field who's trying to impress you. He's not going to say no. You're not looking out for the player. You were concerned enough about him not putting him in when Josh Johnson was able to play. Lance could be in the driver's seat very, very soon. Smitty, a Niner fan? No, JP, I've never been a Niner fan. I don't know what would make you think I'm a Niner fan. I don't even show my signs of any fandom on this show or on my brand. I'm a completely unbiased looking glass at the entire NFL. And your boy Smitty brings it with objectivity. Of course, I get excited about guys like Burrow and Hurts, but it's because they're bold prediction calls. They were guys who graduated from the fantasy football show last year. These guys right here in the yearbook, that is the Fantasy Football Show 2022. Best couple in the bottom right corner, most likely to succeed. They always get that wrong. Ended horribly for the most popular high school player here in Swift. But my point being that we don't know what's going to happen with Brock Purdy. He could end up having the Tommy Johns. We'll find out once they get in there, open it up, and it could be good or it could be bad news. Either way, Does that change the fact that I think Tom Brady's headed to the Niners? No, it doesn't. It doesn't change it at all. Joe Burrow, this is obvious stuff right here. Captain Obvious. Bengals head coach Zach Taylor said conversations about extending Joe Burrow should begin. I assume they mean immediately, internally and immediately. Joe Burrow needs to get a fat bag. And this guy right here, Kellen Moore, went literally like 5 minutes without a job. The Chargers are expected to hire ex-Cowboys OC Kellen Moore. I think this is good. I think this will be really good for Herbert. I still don't know how I feel about Herbert walking into 2023. I'm still a little bit concerned about him. And I don't think I'm ready to get on board when there's so many better options on the board. It's not like I'm trying to run from Herbert entirely, but like I don't find myself in a position where I don't think I can find myself in a position where I don't absolutely love option after option after option before I'm forced to take him. You know, so like I don't anticipate drafting Herbert in 2023. True Penguin says, Smitty, don't clown on my boy Swift. Bro, you want to call in and defend Swift, be my guest. I'm not mad at you for defending him. I'd love to hear your rationale just so we could all maybe get a different angle, because I am very angry, as everybody else is, about Swift's inability to deliver during 2022. The high investment we had. I would love to know what a positive take looks like, to be honest with you. Not to go at you, just to hear it, to hear what the positive take is. Is there any reason to get excited about him? You know, then I would definitely be excited a little more than I am now. And Planet Uranus, we did add Kyle Shanahan to it.
And off he goes to the planet known as Uranus.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, with all of that in mind, with the Brady board and all of the landing spots in mind, with the NFL draft order and all of that in mind, it's time to open the phone lines and talk to you, the people, because I work for you.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Okay, Nev, appreciate you. Appreciate everybody that dropped comments yesterday. Drop your comments today. We'll get a new set of information up. Oh, I was going to predict these landing spots, so let me rewrite that in a bigger fashion. So we got Brady, 49ers. We've got A-Rod to the Jets. And again, I don't know that all these will happen, but I believe two of them will. We got Lamar. This needs to be an aggressive coach and GM and club to get Lamar, because the objective will be for the Baltimore Ravens to tag him and keep him and sign him to a long-term deal, or long-term deal before the franchise tag is required. But they'll tag him either way, and then they'll work out a long-term deal or trade him, tag and trade him. But the team's going to have to be aggressive enough. What team feels like they're going to be the most aggressive? Miami. They will be the most aggressive. Miami Mike will, I believe, try and get a hold of this guy Lamar. And if you think Lamar isn't wanting two wide receivers over one, so the Jets have Garrett Wilson, and then we think that Elijah Moore could be revived, but and then the Las Vegas Raiders, they of course are an attractive landing spot because you got Devontae Adams, and that could be where, you know, maybe the Raiders get aggressive, but I think it's this guy right here. It's Miami Mike that is going to be the most aggressive coach in the National Football League. We've seen it already. Miami Mike is going to do his darndest to lure in a quarterback that can help him close out what he wasn't able to close out in this year's playoffs with a quarterback that can stay on the field. Now, Lamar's been injured a lot, so we wonder if that's going to work out, right? Is he going to get him hurt? Or will Lamar get to run less for the first time in his career? Will Lamar's rushing stats get cut in half? And that's not a bad thing. It could keep him healthy, and he might make up for what he loses in rushing stats in receiving production. In passing production, because you've got literally these weapons, this arsenal of weaponry that will make even Lamar Jackson, who I doubt as a pocket passer, a pure pocket passer, he's not a pure pocket passer. Without Lamar's rushing stats, he's nowhere near top 5 fantasy football quarterback material unless he's in Miami, and whatever he loses, and he will lose rushing yards, you'll want him to. You'll want to keep him healthy. Let's say you cut him in half and you give him 100 carries instead of 200. He's still going to have massive production, rip off big yards per carry. His yardage will be lower, but maybe it's not even as low as you would think, getting half the carries because it's going to be big rips. And he can still get the rushing touchdowns near the goal line and in the red zone. But it's like this guy, whatever this guy loses in rushing stats, he will most certainly gain in passing stats in Miami. Ben, you're live on the Fantasy Football Show.
Smitty, how's it going, man?
What's up?
Not too much. I know this isn't like a take that you have or anything, but I've been seeing way too many people hating on Brock Purdy, saying Brock Purdy failed, Brock Purdy this, Brock Purdy that. Brock Purdy got hurt on, like, the first drive, I believe. Like, I don't know. That was a tough game, but
so my take,
Shanahan sucks.
My take is this, bro. Okay? This might be I don't want to say hard to hear. But Brock Purdy was living on a cloud, bro, cloud 9, you know? And I think Niner fans were living on cloud 9. It's not that he couldn't succeed. This is such a good situation in a very similar fashion. It's like Miami. Was Tua really an amazing quarterback? The answer is no, Ben. Did he play like an amazing quarterback? The answer is yes, Ben. So could Brock Purdy play way above his ability and level in this offense? Yes, because he has a lot of nice intangibles. I think there's a big difference in saying Brock Purdy isn't the for sure guy, and I think that's what people should be saying that are saying he failed and he's not the guy. They should say he might not be the guy. We don't know enough yet, but people that were touting him as a for sure lock to be the next elite quarterback were putting the cart ahead of the horse because we didn't have enough footage on him. Defenses didn't have enough footage on him. He maybe started to get figured out. This is about the time frame that a quarterback that doesn't have a lot of film out there starts to get figured out. Tua started to get figured out a little bit. I'm not saying Brock Purdy couldn't have developed, but with this injury, I see his road to the starting lineup just went from, I would say, 80% certainty that he gets the job next year to at a maximum of 50-50. Because now you have Trey Lance, who's going to get the entire offseason work. You're going to have this kid coming back from an injury, and he may or may not be 100% when he does come back. Let's say he comes back right at the start of camp. He may not be 100%, and they may take it easy on him. Not to mention, if they go into the elbow, bro, and it's Tommy John's, not just a repair, it's a reconstruction, Tommy John surgery, he's probably done. You know, he's done for a while at least, and then will his job be there? And then it's like he has to fight to try and get it. Maybe he's a backup for a while, and he does regain his positioning somewhere, if not even in San Francisco. But given you don't know what Trey Lance can do yet, and I'm not saying I wouldn't give Trey a shot either. I like that option because I like Trey. But you don't know what Trey Lance can do yet. He still hasn't played in over 2 years. You know, he really hasn't played consistent football at all for over 2 years. He got hurt right away. So you don't know what Trey can do. You don't know if Purdy's going to stay healthy. You've continued to have quarterback injuries, and you were on your 5th quarterback, or if you're a Niner fan or not, you were on your 5th quarterback, and you didn't even have a 5th quarterback to put in. So guess who your 5th quarterback was? Let's say we're 4 quarterbacks down. Who's our 5th quarterback? Oh, let's just like a layup line in basketball. Brock Purdy came around again. Let's send the guy with no UCL in his elbow. It's like basically just taking his UCL, ripping it out like a cord. He's just going to go out there with this limp arm and just hand the ball off. And let's maybe turn a repair into a reconstruction Tommy John's, because that's how reckless that was of Shanahan to put this poor kid out there that didn't want to say no. I'm sure you got to look out for the player when you're the coach. You got to. These kids want to go back on the field no matter what. No matter what. He could be missing a thumb. And he'd be like, I want to go back out there, coach. Everybody wants to go back out on the field. He doesn't want to disappoint. He also doesn't want to lose his job. And so I understand what you're saying. Like, it is wrong of people to say he failed in that he busted, but he did look rattled against the Cowboys. He didn't look fantastic before the injury, but it wasn't a lot of time. It's not fair to judge that. But at the end of the day, bro, he wasn't there. And at the end of the day, you don't know if he's going to be healthy. At the end of the day, you have one option, in my opinion, that secures you a Super Bowl appearance almost immediately when you sign him, and that's Tom Brady. Not only do you still have Brock Purdy or Trey or all three, or maybe you trade Trey away and you get something for him and you still have Brock Purdy, you're in no worse situation if Brady fails, because then you go right back to your boy Purdy. And he's developed under Tom Brady all offseason, and for a few games, let's say Tom Brady looks like crap. He goes out there, plays like crap. You pull him. And it's a sad moment. We're all like depressed, or he gets hurt, whatever. And then Purdy goes in. Why not give the Niners a shot with a closing window? When I say that, I don't mean it's closing like right this second. I just mean you're not going to be able to keep all this talent together forever. And you have an opportunity to not only groom Purdy or Trey under Tom Brady, but you can win a Super Bowl to boot with an increased cap. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. For Niner fans that are against it, why would you be against bringing in Tom Brady? Are you just saying he stinks? He's already done? Let him prove he's done. If he's done, you throw Purdy back in there. Like, why would you not want to take a chance?
Brady. I'm not against Brady, but we do need a very team-friendly deal. And I know he's willing. I know he's at least has a history of being willing to do that. So,
bro,
if we can get a good team-friendly deal, then that works for me.
No quarterback would be more friendly to the Niners in a deal right now than Tom Brady. He's wanted to play for the San Francisco 49ers since he was a little boy, and this is his dream come true. If he's got to stack his deal, and it's an accounting game. Like, it's not a problem signing him. He could stack his contract in the perfect way that helps the team out for the future, for the now, however they want to structure it. He would be like, do it. He's not going to play for pennies, but he would say, structure it however you want. At the end of the year, I promise I'll reconstruct it or whatever, restructure it later. We can redo the contract at any point. Like, Tom Brady will be 100,000% willing to commit to anything. Hey, I want you to groom Trey Lance like you've never groomed a quarterback. Yeah, done. Put it in the contract. I want you to hold Brock Purdy's hand on anywhere on the facility. Done. I'll hold Brock Purdy's hand to the cafeteria. I'll do everything. I'll wrap my arms around him. We'll be best buddies attached to the hip. I'll put him on a leash. Anything he wants, done. Tom Brady will attach himself and groom this kid. Whatever they want, Tom Brady will do. And so I feel like it's in the bag. But you know what the problem is, Ben? This is me predicting what's logical. And the problem is the guy I trust the very least in the entire National Football League to make good personnel decisions is Shanahan. So will I be right? Probably not, bro. I'm probably going to whiff on this one big time because I'm using logic and Shanahan's doing Shanahan things. Shenanigans, bro. It's constant with this guy. So my hope is, who do you think was responsible for that CMC trade? Probably John Lynch, Ben, because he has such good ties to the McCaffrey family. John Lynch is probably 80% or more the reason why McCaffrey was traded to the Niners. And I had a lot of negative things to say about John Lynch all offseason, and I'm starting to change my tune. I'm starting to really like the way John Lynch is operating because he's starting to, I think, force certain things instead of just going with Shanahan, which makes John Lynch's decision-making look bad. But I believe John Lynch is probably to a point right now where he's like, if he wants Brady, I think he's going to force it. I'm hoping that John Lynch is going to grab this situation by the balls and take over and get Tom Brady, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, that defense, Ayuk, all on the same squad, and it's a super team. And then you know what you're going to have people say? This is unfair. Of course you can buy a championship. Well, everyone else has the same shot at getting Brady right now. Everybody's still the same shot at getting Christian McCaffrey. The Niners are a super team. If they get Tom Brady, they are a Super Bowl lock, in my opinion, and even capable of beating the Eagles next year, even if the Eagles improve by getting, let's say, Bijan Robinson or whoever. I think it'll be a battle. It'll be a great game. But Brady will, I believe, walk this team into a Super Bowl appearance if he's signed and on the Niner roster.
I agree. I think that's a good take. I agree with you 100%. I just don't like I've seen a lot of people saying Brock Purdy failed, and I agree with you. The only thing that failed Brock Purdy was his head coach and the ligaments in his throwing arm. And if we can get Brady, I know he wants to play in San Francisco, so that would be fantastic if he would agree to do that.
Yeah.
I have a question. I was curious if now is a good time or if you want to do it on your later show. But how are your mittens doing? You got any in the finals or?
I've got one or two that made it. I'll have to check and pull it up again. But the problem is they were Bengal geared. So at this point, even the ones that made it they're pretty much done. Because I had my best one, bro. It has Joe Burrow, Mixon, P. Ryan, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Hurst. I have the entire lot of them, bro, on one, and that's the one that made it. It's done. If my Bengals would have made it through to the Super Bowl, I think I would have been in some for a big bag of cash, bro. I'm
I had a couple Bengals teams that looked pretty nice, all right. But yeah, it's interesting because there shouldn't be any teams in the finals with even 5 players because the Chiefs and the Eagles had that bye.
Yeah. I mean that. But if
the Bengals or the Bills or but if any other team made it, if any other teams made it, any other teams, there would have been squads in there with 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. But there really shouldn't be anybody with even 5 players, maybe 5 if you had DK and Dalton Schultz maybe and Dak.
The problem is all the teams that I had, and I think this is pretty safe to say it's the same for everybody else, all the teams that I had that were Eagle geared or KC geared didn't make it through round 1 because they didn't have the firepower to make it through round 1. So it's a tough balance. So you had to have the perfect wild card players mixed with all the high draft picks of Eagle or KC players. And those people are the ones that are going to walk into a nice bag of cash. It was hard because I put my money on my Niner and Eagle geared teams where I drafted Mahomes and McKinnon and where I drafted Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Miles Sanders. I have all 4 of them on one of my mittens. I think I have all 5 of the Eagles on one of my mittens, but I had to bank on some wild card players, right? And I put everything on the line for those built teams on the Buccaneer wide receivers and Tom Brady. And they crapped the bed in the wild card game, and it was just a bad unraveling of the combinations that I had. But I have a team that made it. It's just that they're all Bengals and they're all out. So
yeah, the only team I can even imagine making it into the finals with 5 guys would have to have DK Metcalf, Dak Prescott, and Dalton Schultz. But I do have one team I'm excited about in the Mitten 4. I have a team in the finals with Patrick Mahomes. I got the Kelsey stack, so I got Mahomes, Kelsey. I got Isaiah Pacheco and Miles Sanders.
Nice.
Thank you.
Anything else, Ben?
Appreciate everything you do.
All right, man.
Thanks for taking the phone call.
All right, appreciate you, pal. Later.
All
right. So rock out. Kenny Powers says he's celebrating 6 months on the YouTube exclusive membership.
To the moon.
Thank you, Kenny P. You still here, Kenny P? Hopefully you're still here. Kenny P said, 0.5 PPR, would you trade Olave or London for the 1.2? I wouldn't trade. If I could choose, I would trade London for the 1.2. But I don't say that lightly. Like, I like London a lot. I think London could even be a moon man. I'm just letting you know. I know we got a lot of sophomore wide receivers on the moon man list.
The moon men, dropping loads in outer space.
Every single player on this list, aside from the Miami Dolphin quarterback and Breece Hall,
Space Monsters,
are rookie running backs or sophomore wide receivers. So London could be a moon man. Olave's already a moon man, as you can see.
The moon men, dropping loads in outer space.
So Olave's a moon man already, so I would keep him, obviously. But that 1.2... who's the 1.2? He's on the Moon Man list as well. So my answer is London's not on the Moon Man list yet, but the 1.2 is on the Moon Man list. Whoever it ends up being, if it's Charbonnet or Jahmyr Gibbs.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
Or Sean Tucker. So the 1.2 is one of those guys. It's Gibbs, Charbonnet, or Tucker.
Space Monsters.
So that's the 1.2, bro. You don't see London on here yet, so that should tell you that if you're going to make a trade and get that 1.2.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Easy smash for me, my broski. Hod Prime says the NFL rigged that game, Smitty. I don't buy into this conspiracy stuff, Hod Prime. I mean, it's such a, you know how hard it would be to rig it. Like I said, if you're going to try and rig a game, it would be so hard to rig a game. You would have to have so many things under wraps. Come on, bro. If you want to say something different like, hey, Smitty, I firmly believe that an NFL ref was bought or something in the game. Like that, I could understand that. Like a compromised situation, like one person, these are human beings involved in everything. There's always people that are compromised. So like I could get behind your opinion of that. Not that we'd have any confirmation on it unless something broke and then we were all surprised. Look, it can happen. It's happened before. It'll probably happen again. But the NFL rigged the game? I don't think so, bro. Do you know how many moving parts there are to that game? These are always, no offense, Hot Prime, I appreciate you, but these are always ridiculous stances to me, that anything's scripted in the NFL. Like, stop with the conspiracies. There's too many moving parts. There's no way that that's going to happen. Too many, and especially when people say the entire NFL is scripted and all the players are in on it. What fantasy world you live in, bro? 53 times 32 teams is 2,500 plus players, bro, that are all in cahoots. I don't think so. Give me a break. Dial into the show, people. You know the drill.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
You're paid off, Smitty. Oh, so now I'm a part of it, Mason. I guess that would be interesting. How much am I getting, bro? What's my price? We need a Moon Man 10, Smitty. You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll drop a Moon Man tonight. If you all, I'm going to drop a link right now. If you all get if you all get this Spotify podcast, my podcast, to 100 full star ratings right now, I'm going to drop the link right now. Copy the link. Drop said link right now. I'm going to pin it. Let's see here. Spotify. Where's my Spotify link? Spotify. Hold on. Here, hold on. Let me put this in the live chat. If you guys get this to 100, we're at 65 ratings, I believe. Full star ratings. If you guys get this to 100, that means there's how many of you in here right now? 148. If everybody does it, I'll drop a Moon Man 10 tonight. So here it is. I will drop Moon Man 10 if we get 100 ratings. Okay. Pin message. I will drop Moon Man number 10 tonight. This message that I pinned right here in the live chat. It's in the live chat. I pinned it. Click that. Spotify. If we get to 100 ratings, drop a full star review, and we will drop Moon Man number 10 tonight. Okay, deal. I'm gonna be checking on it, and we'll see if we get to 100. Right now we're at 65. full star reviews, punch it, and we'll drop it. How do you rate it? There should be a star, a rating button, bro. There's like a star, and it says 65 next to it, 4.7 or 4.8 out of 5. Drop a 5-star, bro. Drop a 5-star, and your boy Smitty will 100% drop a Moon Man tonight for all of you. 1 QB traded Tony, Wandell, and Cousins for the 2.1 through 2.5 and 2.7. Oh, and all that for the 1.4 and 1.6. 2.4. Yeah, I love that trade. I'm all about trading up, bro. And that 1.4 is going to get you one of these 4 running backs.
The tripod.
Oops.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
Thank you, Sam. Sam's going to have his girl rate it too. Thomas says you'd have to listen to it first. Well, Thomas, it's basically I put every show on there, so you're listening to it right now. You're listening to it yesterday. You listened to it the day before. So drop a full-star rating unless you don't like the show, bro. The Fantasy Football Show, correction players, and 6 times seconds for first. It doesn't matter, Jeremy. You get the 1.4, you're getting one of the running back moon men, bro. You're getting one of those running back moon men. Jeremy with a super chat. Jeremy, oh, that was the same one. Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate you. Definitely go get the early picks, bro. Blind Larry in the building. Blind Larry says it takes one player or coach to rig a game. It's possible, man. It's like shaving points. Yeah, but I think you're saying that there's someone paid off and then the game being scripted are two different things. Like the game being rigged is different than there being corruption in the game, where I think the definitions we have are very different on that. Okay. Thomas, appreciate you. NFL is definitely rigged, says Pete. Crazy, guys. That's right. You're allowed to have your opinion, and I still appreciate you, but I think that's crazy talk. I'm telling my girlfriend to rate it. Thank you. Appreciate you, Sam. Spitty, just whisper Moonman 10 for me. I gotta know. Go vote, bro. Go vote. If you want Moonman number 10, make sure you vote. So far we have, let me see. Sometimes they don't update the rating right away. It takes like a couple minutes to see a refresh. But guys, make sure you give it a full star review. And your boy Smitty, if we hit 100, we were at 65 when I dropped it. We will be full go Moonman blast, baby. Maney wants a Moon Man. Attaboy, Maney. Smitty, why the shades, bro? Why not? Why not the shades? When you look at a computer screen as long as I do, bro, and you've got screens all over and you've got lights all over, you tell me with lighting in your face how much your eyes would, invite that. Not to mention their blue light blocking and prescription sunglasses, bro. So not only are they for blue light blocking to like stop migraines from happening, because I'm starting to get migraines, but it's also because I have tons of lighting in here. It's like being in front of the sun. We have 70 ratings already. All right, guys, 30 more. 30 more, and we're dropping a Moon Man tonight. 30 more ratings. Let's go. Let's go. See how easy it is to influence me to drop a Moon Man? Pretty easy stuff. All right, dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I loved it. If anybody thinks the NFL is rigged, I would love for you to call in. Please call in. Not because I want to go at you in a negative way or anything, but I want to know your rationale. Please. Let's see. Are you saying it is? If NFL is rigged, don't think everyone knows, or them coaches should get an Academy Award for being pissed. Yeah, I think the definition of rigged, you need to describe what you're talking about too. If you come in here and say the NFL is rigged, do you mean that one person is doing it all. Like one person is like scripting it up, and if so, or do you think one person's just bought and no one knows it, and he's calling bad plays as a ref? Like, sure, but if someone thinks the coaching staffs are rigged, that Roger Goodell tells a head coach you're going to lose this game, what fairy tale world are you living in? Like, that is absolutely crazy. All pro sports are rigged. There's corruption everywhere. Rigged and corruption are very different, JT. They're not all sports are not rigged. You think these players get drafted out of college after trying their hardest and developing their skills and literally come to the NFL to find out, hey, you're now an actor. I'm sorry, we didn't tell you, but you're now going to have to play a role. You're going to play a role. We're going to tell you if you're going to win a championship or not. Okay, 53 players times 32 teams, 1,696 players in a NFL acting guild. Now just quietly, all of them at once accept their role as an actor now. They just turned into an actor. Your show's not long enough to explain. This is what the ignorant always say. At Vegas. Okay, JT. I'm asking you to call in and try me. If you're gonna come here and say the NFL's rigged, call in. Don't tell me the it's too long of an answer. Call in and make one good point. Call in and make a couple good points in a row. You don't have to nail everything in one convo, bro. Dial in. If you think the NFL's rigged, be bold and brave and call in, JT. It's really simple. And you can say that this is what the ignorant say. Is that what you said? Where's JT's comment? This is what the ignorant always say. You're asking why you were probably timed out. It's probably because you refer to people and me and the show as ignorant. That might be, you want to know why you're getting timed out, JT. That's probably a good sign. Read the room, pal. Dial in. Stop acting like you don't know why you're getting timed out from the mods or me or from whoever. It's because you have a kind of negative attitude that you come in here dragging it in, and you wonder why people are like going at you all the time. You're creating problems with everyone around you. You're arguing left and right. Look, you probably typed this before you even heard what I'm saying. Let's read it. It's not the players and the coaches, bro. It's the umpire who placed by Goodell, and he's placed by the mafia that runs the books in Vegas. Bro. Umpire. The umpire.
Wrong. Muy mal.
The umpire. Strike! Wrong sport. But yeah, I mean, this is Manny's right. Why are you always stirring the pot, JT? And then you complain why you're timed out. Like, you're really oblivious to why you're timed out? Really? You're in here stirring the pot all the time. You sit here, even if you agree with something, you literally sit here, bro. Don't confer, and you just wait for something that you can jump on. What did somebody say? Oh, yeah. I'm going to stir the pot here. Like, keep it up. I would know what blind ones look like. I don't know what that means, bro. Here, let's hit the phone line.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't finish this. So we got Brady, A-Rod, Lamar. So let's pull up the Brady board real quick while we wait for someone to dial in. We wait for JT to dial in. I doubt it happens. We don't really have a fourth quarterback to go to Las Vegas, obviously. So someone's going to be out. And you can't put Derek Carr here because Carr was. Oh, I don't even have the screen up. You can't put Carr here because Carr was in Vegas. So There's a possibility that Vegas gets A-Rod and then Carr goes to the Jets or something like that. The Raiders better get aggressive. The Raiders could be screwed if they sit on their hands and don't aggressively go after one of these three guys and they end up missing out on one of the three quarterback difference makers and they're paying Devontae Adams all of this money. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So, this is kind of my prediction as of right now. That leaves Derek Carr to where? Like what play? Let's go to the NFL draft board and let's see what teams we feel would be capable of bringing in Derek Carr. Yeah, Jimmy G to Vegas, bro. Oh my God, what a disaster. What a disaster. We'd have to really adjust Adams' value and bring him down a whole ton, a whole boatload of picks, bro. I would say Derek Carr to the Falcons, to the Panthers, to the Cardinals potentially, because Kyler Murray isn't going to be ready for Week 1. So the Cardinals need a quarterback. I mean, they could just make sure Colt is ready to rumble and on roster and all that. The Giants could bring in Derek Carr, and Dable could show everybody that it's the Raiders' fault Derek Carr fell apart. You know what I mean? Dable's that good. We didn't think Danny Dimes was going to be, at least I didn't. I didn't think Danny Dimes was going to be a special looking player by the end of the year. The Saints, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like that one. That's a good call. There's Seattle. I think they'd probably rather have Geno, but what if they want to do both? What if they want a competition? Washington. Green Bay could trade away Aaron Rodgers and they could go with Carr and Love and try and play it safe. The Jets could get Carr, like I said, if A-Rod goes to Vegas. But if this goes this way, then Vegas is going to be left. Oh, I'm again not showing the board. I'm sorry. If this goes this direction, then Vegas is going to be left with one of those quarterbacks like Jimmy G or, can you imagine? What a disaster. What are we at? Can someone give me a count on the Spotify reviews? What are we looking at? What are we looking at? Someone refresh it. Are we at 100? Did we get to 100? Because your boy Smitty is ready to drop a Moon Man tonight if we get to 100 reviews on Spotify. What are we at? Carr to Indy makes some sense. It does, but they've already shot that down apparently. But who knows if that's a legit rumor. Carr to the Saints is, again, another one Manny says. I like that. I like that from Manny. Manny, the main man. The main man, Manny. JT actually right about the umpire. I know, but it's just like when you categorize a ref as umpire, he's saying that the referees are potentially placed there. It's a ridiculous accusation, bro. It's a ridiculous accusation. What's he saying now? It's a matter of time before JT's not even around. I can guarantee that if he keeps stirring the pot. You guys act like the entire NFL would have to be corrupt. No, just the commish and the lead ref. You think that wouldn't get out, bro? You think that wouldn't get out? Not to mention, you still can't control everything. Bro, do you know how hard it would be to mess up game after game? Not to mention, like, just because you call a play bad doesn't mean the team can't come back. You're telling me that Trevor Lawrence was supposed to win the game and that the refereeing caused that? Like, you know how little control you have even if you're making calls, bro? Like, you can't shape an entire game unless there's a play at the very end and you get lucky and the game goes a certain way and you finally are put in a position where you can make a difference and decide who wins. Give me a break. It would be so blatant if you had to shape an entire game over and over and over, bro. Like, you're out of your mind. This is crazy. Can a ref be bought? Sure. Will it matter? Can he even control the game even if he is? No, not necessarily. Unbelievable. Yeah, it's no one trashes you, bro. You come in and you stir the pot. You come in and you try and rile people up, bro. That's why everybody is constantly saying, bro, chill. Like you get told chill like once every 10 minutes, bro, because you don't you come in and you start saying things like people are ignorant. Do you hear me calling you names, JT? No, you don't. Lamar to Las Vegas. I like the idea too. It's certainly going to potentially be one of these scenarios. That's why the Brady board's so important. We point to it like every 10 times a show, is because look at all the options. I mean, Las Vegas, you see A-Rod, Brady, and Lamar all in that slot. Dave wants to let you all know that the Eagles are going to fly, and they're already flying. Congrats to your Eagles, bro. They look really, really good. I think the Eagles win, but it's going to be really, really close. Very, very close. What are we at? Somebody tell me the Spotify numbers. What are we at? Poor Brock. Yeah, it is a shame. And he's not out of the woods yet in terms of being back in 2023. When they go in, they'll know. When they go in, they'll know. They have to open it up, bro. Thank you, Dave. They do what Goodell says. This is enough. I'm not even entertaining it anymore, JT, because you won't call in to debate it. So Jimmy G to the Raiders. It's possible, bro. It's very, very possible. We're at 73. Oh boy, 27 more full star reviews on Spotify, and your boy Smitty. True Penguin, I want you to keep us updated. I wanna update every 5 minutes, bro, if you can, if that's okay. And then once we get to 100, we know Moon Man number 10 is dropping tonight.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
Space Monsters.
Moon Man number 10 coming in this slot right here. Coming in this slot right here tonight. Pending Moon Man number 7. Let's hit this one more time.
Get breached.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
Coming tonight.
Space Monsters.
The link is pinned in the live chat. All you got to do is go to it. Click it. Full star review. Let's go. $76.90. Yeah. Ignorant is not a derogatory term. Just means that you lack knowledge. Thank you for the underhanded compliment there, JT. Lacking knowledge. I lack knowledge. Okay, JT, you're a gem. You're a gem. You're one of one, JT. Blind Larry, you are live on the show, bro.
What's going on, man?
What's up?
I'm just trying to figure this out. Okay, so yeah, until it comes out being rigged by the whole NFL, it's probably not going to happen. Like you're right. I believe that 100%. It's kind of hard to get a couple people to do it, but it only takes one or two people, in my opinion. Okay. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, like, how can Vegas be right 99% of the time on any of this stuff, any of these bets by the points, to the tee, every single time, if it's big numbers, little numbers that aren't always happening throughout the past in each team's contest? How can they be so sure? Who are the people that work for Vegas is what I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, but Blind Larry, like, they've had years of cultivating algorithms and predicting things, and you got to also keep in mind that Vegas doesn't make money on, like, do you know how Vegas, and I'm not meaning this in a way of like trying to get you or anything like that, but do you know why the Vegas line is the way it is or how it works?
I really don't. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
So this is how the Vegas line works. So let's say there's the Super Bowl game. Vegas wants no part in actually betting on the winner. Like, they may have some algorithms that tell them to push in, and maybe they do some kind of weird thing behind the scenes of trying to like bet on the game or something. I don't know. But the way that the line works, Vegas wants no part in the actual benefiting of a winner or loser. Vegas pushes the line to the middle. So if, let's say, 100 people, as just a simplify numbers, 100 people right now go and put down a bunch of money on the Chiefs line side of the line will move so that there's an even amount of people on both sides, so that Vegas isn't even gambling. Vegas is just taking in the rake, the percentage, the vig.
Yeah, no.
So
no, I get that part. But how ironic is it for, like, the other day you said Sanders to get 30 plus or under yards. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then they take them pretty much out of the game and don't run them the rest of the game.
Those aren't necessarily coming from Vegas, bro. They might start pulling that data from Vegas lines or something. I don't know. But at first, when those higher lowers were coming out, you could really take advantage of them, bro, because there was somebody operating that at a different level. But there's like, hold on.
I'm just calling because I'm tired of hearing everybody talk about it. I ain't gonna be scared enough to call and talk about it. But do I think some games are scripted or rigged? At some point, you got to think the same thing. Like, why is one time this guy's gonna make this play, knowing the next week he will never make that same play, or the week before? You know what I mean?
There's no chance of scripting. There's chance of corruption. Like, it's human beings.
Okay, well, then I guess that's maybe what I'm confusing with. I guess
it's a human being. Like, we're human beings. Is someone capable of being like, bro? Somebody could storm into one of the referees' houses the night before and go, "You're doing this," or like, we don't know. Anything could happen, bro. It could be like a crazy scenario. But what I'm trying to say is, on the whole, there's no way that the NFL or referees can manage how many yards, like, because let's take it piece by piece. The line itself and the score and the outcome's one argument, which is easier to manipulate than anything else, let's just say. But to the comment that you had earlier, that Miles Sanders would get 100 yards, you know how hard it'd be for a referee to guide Miles Sanders into 100 yards rushing? He wouldn't know. Like,
but I mean,
he might overshoot it. What?
If quarterback's got helmet mics or whatever, who's to say anybody else couldn't?
What are you saying?
People that, I mean,
but what are you saying there, Miles Sanders? You're going to get 100 yards or else. Like, do you know how hard it would be to keep that under wraps, bro? Come on.
No, sir. I do not believe that everything can be scripted. Do I have, like, if he's at 97 yards, I'm not playing that dude no more. He's not going to get 100 yards. Simple as that. You know what I mean? Like, certain things I think could be, or like you saying, could be corruption.
Okay.
but I'm not saying that the NFL is scripted 100%.
Okay.
Do I believe that? Yeah.
But player yardage, there's zero chance. There might be somebody that tried to.
Well, how can they be so?
It doesn't even matter though if they are accurate with algorithms and such and averages. Like, think about it for a second. And also, let me get back to that with the line. But if you're talking about yardage and all that, bro, it's hard enough to predict something using averages and stuff to begin with. For a referee, while the whole game's on the line, they gotta shape the direction of the game, who's gonna win, how many field goals are gonna get kicked, how many yards are gonna get rushed. Come on, bro. You know how hard. Hold
on. I'm not saying that it is. You're thinking. I guess you think I'm saying it is. Everybody else want to be like, I'm not gonna call in. Well, I'm gonna call in. We can talk about it. If you want content, I'm giving it to you, bro. I'm not saying that like this JT character is. I'm just saying things could be out of the ordinary when it comes to money, dude.
One-off situations, though, not grand scheme things like this. We're talking about
100%
okay,
good. Like,
but
I understand. Yeah, understood that. Yeah.
Let's
for
get
sure.
back to the line, though.
But-
So let's throw out the idea that yardage is controlled by a referee. There's zero chance that is shapeable from especially if he's got to control the outcome of the game. And bro, that's like telling the guy to do. He's not Chris Angel out there on the field, pulling off magic.
But check this
so
out.
so
okay,
hold on.
That's fine or whatever. But if I'm watching the football game and the announcers already know all this information within real time, that real time can be said to them people real time.
Okay, so let's just.
I'm not saying that they go that far into doing things, but I'm thinking it is a possibility. Just like you say, everything you say, it is a possibility. Just say that it is a possibility, and that guy will shut up.
That is not a possibility to me because you have Miles Sanders yardage, receiving yards, touchdown yardages, half a point for touchdown or receiving touchdown. Bro, there's too many variations to even control. Let's say 2 players' stat outcomes for a referee. It's a ridiculous argument. I appreciate you making it though. It's kind of fun to make the argument and counterpoints. But let's take that off the table. There's zero chance that referees can control anything like that. Let's say that a referee
I wasn't talking about referees per se,
let's
bro.
say
I was talking about in general.
But that's not happening either because you'd have players being quiet. You're telling me that this guy that hits a team, comes out of college, thinks his skill is going to be used. I'm going to make bank and I'm going to be a star. You're telling him I'm going to control your game and you're going to have or the coaches control.
If you give somebody $100 to $300 million, you think these people aren't going to shut up?
Bro, every player's quiet. Players that have got cut, players that got kicked out of the league. You're telling me that these things aren't just going to be out there? Hold on. Let's throw that part out because that is a ridiculous part of this. Let's just say that all the referees were under the thumb of Goodell. That's a more realistic conspiracy that we could at least tackle, okay? Let's just pretend that's what the conversation is, because the yardage is ridiculous. There's so many moving parts and so many variations, bro. When you go to Miles Sanders, No. You got me confused, homie. I was saying for these people who are making these bets, like you're underdogs, you're this, you're that, whatever, you're Vegas. How are they to know one person is going to get 30 yards? Because there's bets you can get that say, oh, he's going to get 33 yards, blah blah blah, whatever. Like, how is it so on point every single time? Or like the end of the game. So that's insinuating.
I want to know who these people are that are working for him. That's who I want to know.
Okay, but
I want to know the people that are working for him.
That's a whole different topic, and there's algorithms involved that are the rationale for that. Like the average amount of yards he gets per game. There's so many equations that there's huge algorithms that take into effect defensive stats against how likely is this team to be up, what's the yardage look like. Like there's a reason it's very, very close, but there's zero chance any of the yardage is controlled by the NFL refs or the NFL. Zero. They're just because hold on.
Replay this back. Replay all that back and tell me one time did I ever say the refs are controlling the game? One time.
Well, but you're saying that you're making the argument that it's weird that the yardage is exact. So if you're just saying that, then fine.
That was just on the Vegas. That was just on the Vegas aspect, dude. That wasn't on this.
I honestly felt like you were arguing that. To be honest, like I think
not at all.
Because you came in here on that topic, though, bro. You came in on that topic, so clearly it's going to come off that way. But
I'm going to come in hot on it because not everybody else is scared to call in and talk about it. Everybody in this chat has thought about that once or twice.
But it sounded like you were trying to come in and counterpoint, and you were. So I was telling you that the counterpoint isn't going to pass the test if you were going to argue it. Okay. So let's
you know way more about football than I do, bro. I just look at it from the person that pretty much just watched it. I just started fantasy a couple years back. You know what I'm saying? So all I was trying to do is make people, try to understand where maybe this guy is coming from or anybody else that's thought about it, because there has not been one person that watches football that ever not think that this couldn't be rigged or in any type of way. I mean, that's
corruption corruption on a one-off level here and there for sure. But have I ever thought that the NFL was the WWE, which is what a lot of people say in the chat sometimes? 0%
not that
chance.
either. It's just like Monster Jam. That's rigged. A lot of people didn't know that.
The
You know what I'm saying?
0% chance that the NFL is scripted from a high level in terms of yardage, in terms of wins and losses, in terms of everything. Is there a bot?
But you got to
ref?
think. You got to think. This is like a bunch of billionaires with a bunch of money that sit up in their suite.
You can't keep quiet
and
with
watch
that
these
kind of
games.
thing, though, bro. You can't keep.
I mean,
quiet,
hey,
especially
dude, there's
when
a lot of things. The elite can do a lot of things, my man, and they got money to do it. They just got to play it out the right way.
Okay,
And if
let's-
it does
let's-
ever come
let's-
out, we can be like, okay, Larry, you were right. But at the same time, it's never going to come out. I don't think that these players waste all their lives to go be actors. I do not at all.
Right.
And,
Okay, so
and there
let's-
wouldn't be,
let's
so
skip
much
the player
emotion
part.
in the game.
Let's skip the player part because it's kind of a waste. There's no way the players are involved in this if there was a conspiracy that was accurate or whatever. Okay, so let's get to the referee level. The line is such that the line moves as there are a number of people on each side of the line. So the reason and everyone wants to know why is the line so accurate, when you're watching Who Wants to Be the Millionaire and the person goes to the audience for the answer, that answer is always super accurate because you have a majority of people group thinking it out, and it's law of averages, bro. When you have enough data and enough good minds predicting something, that line moves in such a way that it's the majority of what everybody is thinking colliding and pushing that line to a certain spot. Now, does Vegas manually move stuff? I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do say, hey, this is feeling like we're gonna take a bath on this. We're gonna manually move it here now or whatever. Or does Vegas like say, hey, we know this is not gonna happen this way. The majority of the people are off, and do they maybe push in on something? I don't know. I'm sure there's all kinds of things that happen. But the line is so accurate because of all that, because it's moved by the people essentially, and the amount of people on each side. That's why the line changes. When you say the line changes, it's not changing because somebody at Underdog or in Vegas says, "Oh my God, that 35.5 yards for Miles Sanders we need to move it because we all of a sudden think he's going to run for 35. We're going to move it down to 30." They move it down to 30 because people are jumping on that, and there's too many people on that side. They're not even. They're not going to break even. Their whole goal is to break even on every single line so that they can essentially take no loss and take all of the vig and rake it in.
Okay. Again, though, I never said anything about changing a line bet. I'm just saying total yards. How can they get so right, so close, so many times? Even if it never changed. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it always changes. But if it never changes, I'm pretty sure it's once or twice or multiple times it's never changed. How can they be so sure that this is going to happen every single time? Majority of
algorithms, bro. It's
change.
Algorithmic. It's algorithmic, and there's a lot that you can do with data, big data, bro. And again, with the lines, it's not about the data as much as it's about how many people are on both sides to make it a no-loss situation, a proposition. When it comes to the player props and everything, like I said, that was done manually, it seemed, by each because you could go and you could see Miles Sanders 38 yards on one platform and you see him 48 yards on another. They weren't all in sync. They may be in sync now because Vegas does all kinds of predictions and stuff. Hold on a second. But as of at the beginning, it was easy to take advantage of the predictions that were out there. So it wasn't done the way you're describing at first. They're getting a lot better at it. They also have a lot more data, and who knows where they're pulling the numbers from now. It seems like they're getting them from a very accurate prediction source now. But again, this comes down to averages. You literally, the numbers still move based on the number of people on each side. And so if it's 38 yards for Miles Sanders, it's still not them trying to predict the exact number as much as it is to have an equal number of people on each side of it. So the Miles Sanders line will move to 45 if there are enough people on the other side. It will move back down to 35 if there are enough people on the other side. It has 100% to do with moving it to the middle, and that ends up being half the time accurate. Like they start out with a certain.
I get that now. Yeah, I mean, there's no more need to explain that. Yeah. I get why it moves because they want to break even,
and it just happens to be
they can't give everybody
indicator.
a win. They can't lose all the time. I get that part. But at the end of the day, man, it's just like nobody wants to speak on it. And if everybody's thought about it, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to speak up on it because at the end of the day, I thought about it a lot.
I appreciate it.
Yes, it could be, but it's not going to be the whole NFL. And that's just me. You know, that's just what I think, you know, because you got people that shade points, they miss baskets, you know, they do this, they do that, you know, they overthrow balls, they make calls that they shouldn't have, you know, but it's only one or two people that are in control of this. You always are real advocate on shot callers. You know what I'm saying? Do we know what's being said ever? Has there ever been any like what's being said in these helmets, you know, speakers? You know, is there anything saying what's ever been said in these helmet speakers from anybody?
Yeah, Blue 32.
We don't know. We don't know what the refs are listening to. You know, we don't know what anybody's listening to.
But again, I get you, and I appreciate you coming in to argue the opposite side. I still would love somebody that truly believes in it to argue it, though, because arguing it with you,
I mean
it's not the same.
If I started something, maybe somebody else would call in because, you know, at the end of the day, I can only speak on how I feel. But this guy's getting blasted, and I don't like to see nobody getting blasted because we're all here for the same reason. But at the end of the day, you know, if he's the one causing trouble, man, just call in and let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? We're not bashing one another.
Yeah,
let's open each other's minds up. You know,
bro,
if you got a great mind and you think this is being rigged, call in and talk about it.
Yeah,
Simple
but it's about stirring the pot. It's not about his topic. And so that
you guys all can see a lot better than me, man. It takes me so long to type, so that's why I just like.
Yeah, no, hey, I appreciate it. And Larry, I wasn't saying anything negative toward your take or anything. I was just
I got thick skin, bro. I got thick skin. I ain't worried about what nobody has to say in that chat. Anybody could be a keyboard warrior, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, it takes a real man. You want to talk about it? We can call it and talk about it. You know what I'm saying? That's how I am.
I would just love to hear from somebody that is hell bent on saying that the NFL is completely scripted.
I
would love to hear someone talk about it with me.
If anybody in that chat has never thought that, that game could have got rigged or could have been corrupt or could have been this or could have been that, I mean, that's kind of the same lines we're talking about. But you want 100% full blown, give me every reason you got, and that's not me. You know, I can only say what I think sometimes, but I was just kind of curious how, you know, the betting, how Vegas can be so on point, but it makes some more sense now that, you know, it goes up and down, it moves. I'm pretty sure a lot of things.
What they do is their algorithm, like, starts it out to a point where it's an amazingly close, accurate prediction, right? And then the people move it based on the number of people on each side, and that's how it is. So, like, if Vegas didn't have a good system for predicting it, let's say they came out with stop using Miles Sanders, A.J. Brown, 65 yards, but that was like a ridiculously dumb thing. Then they'd have a boatload of people jumping on one side, and then they'd have to course correct to try and, you know, lay it off. But it's like they're so good at getting it right in the middle. I'm sure it's just massaging it a little bit here and there. You know, it never moves like 15, 20 yards. It moves like 1, 2, 3, 4 yards. They're really good at predicting what the number is, and that's their algorithms, but the people move it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the big better. You know, I never really even bet, so I can't really speak on, you know, what I know and what I don't know. But, you know, it makes a lot of sense what you're saying, and I'm pretty sure that's pretty 100% accurate how you're putting it. So I can't do nothing but agree, but it's just, you know, hopefully if you never bet and you get the good bet, you know, that was just your good bet you got before they changed it, right? I mean, it doesn't change after you make that bet. You know what I'm saying? Or does it?
Like JT says right here, there was a $64 million on Nyheim Hines prop to get 34 yards. Then JT goes down. Guess what happened? Nyheim Hines goes down after the first rush with a hamstring. These are ridiculous. Nyheim Hines is not gonna. There's so many things to control. Like there's so many players that you'd have to. Like here's the funny part about that argument is if you're gonna actually say that a player's yardage is controlled, do you understand that if you were to go to let's say JT's player list of high or low contests that you could do, sometimes there's 8 of them. There's like 8 of them. There's rushing yards. There's receiving touchdowns. There's receiving or rushing touchdowns. There's fantasy points. There's fumbles. There's like you're telling me that the ref he's cognizant of every single thing going on on all those it's hilarious to me. It's hilarious to me. It's like you can't even, there's no way. Can you imagine having a wristband of saying, oh God, I got to flip to JT's flying down the field. He's like, penalty. JT can't get that running play. It says it on my wristband. There's rushing yards and combined yards and rushing touchdowns and receiving touchdowns and combined TDs and receptions and fumbles. I've got this wrist. This is just for JT. He's got all the players on the field he's got to worry about. It's crazy. It absolutely makes me laugh. Mike, you're live on the Fantasy Football Show with Blind Larry and Smitty. Let me know what you think. Don't drop a bomb, bro. Don't make me.
Oh, I'm not dropping no bombs.
Okay, go.
But there are people who really get deep into this. I don't want to get off the rails. It does tie into this topic, but you remember Larry Johnson, right?
Yeah.
He's a big I know he's a big conspiracy guy, but he has said stuff like this in the past. I have no opinion. I'm a big fantasy guy, but I have no clue, man. I wouldn't it wouldn't shock me if some of the stuff was. One of the things that I thought was kind of weird was I don't know. I feel like the narrative maybe could be pushed to a certain direction, but I don't think the specifics of the games are controlled like that. I think that would be too hard to keep a secret.
The other thing you have a problem with is that let's say this is almost ridiculous. But let's say somebody goes and drops $10 million on Jonathan Taylor rushing for 100 yards. That's in one casino or on one platform. People aren't even considering that you have how many platforms, how many casinos. Does this casino care about this casino losing $10 million? They probably want them to lose $10 million. So how do you account for that? What are people saying, man? It's crazy.
I believe Vegas is Vegas, dude. It's not just one casino making that. I think they all work in cahoots on that. But at the end of the day, who's gonna eventually win? Who always wins? Vegas. You know what I mean?
Smitty, can I make a prediction?
Yeah.
Okay, I think with sports betting becoming more prevalent in every state, I think eventually we're going to have some type of oversight into the referees, and they're going to have to answer for some of the calls, because this whole thing isn't going to go. These conspiracy things, they're not going away with people going to be losing legitimate money. People are going to want people are going to want to know the answers for why certain calls were made.
Yeah.
Even if it's not rigged. You know what I mean?
And there are bad calls that get made. There are referees that are, that are probably not, in any kind of risk of being corrupted or whatever, that make bad calls that cost a lot of money. There's so many crazy, components to this. But like I said, you've got to factor in, this isn't all casinos as one. There's zero chance of what people are describing when you have all of these different platforms that are not related, all of these different casinos that are not related, and one guy going and dropping Mattress Mattress Mike or Mattress whatever his name is, Mattress Mike.
Mattress Mattress Mac, boy.
Mac? Is it Mattress Mac?
Yeah.
Mattress Mac going and dropping, what he dropped, 10 million? Was it 2 million? 10 million?
He dropped 10 million on the Astros.
Well, no, but he dropped 2 million on the Cowboys, I think. Dropped 2 million on the Cowboys at one casino. The other casinos are not in cahoots of trying to make Mac lose his 2 million. It's just asinine. It's crazy. But
see, that's a whole nother story, because he does that to sell mattresses, bro, and he makes his money back in mattresses either way. He insures his money regardless.
But
dude never loses.
Yeah,
he made $75 million on Astros.
Let me just end it here, and then I'll let Ben chime in, who just called in. Is there corruption at the ref level or even the coaching level? Absolutely. These are human beings. We've seen the Flores situation. We've seen the Hugh Jackson situation. I don't know if you guys remember my interview with Hugh Jackson, but there was, after that interview with him that I did with him, there was something that came out where he was, I think, defending Flores, and then there's some stuff that came out about him getting paid to lose games, and he said he wasn't necessarily paid to lose games, but there was like some sort of, I forget, I'm paraphrasing, so forgive me if I'm wording any of it wrong, but something to do with like kind of strange that you get, you know, these bonuses or increase in salary when you don't win games. And so it was like, what?
Yeah.
Like the way he was describing it, like I didn't know, but I kind of knew. And it was like, we know that's
just billionaire influence,
yeah,
bro.
Hold
that's
on.
all that is.
We know that stuff is happening. We know that human beings are corrupt, and we know that they're going to get caught too. And when they get caught doing it, they get reprimanded. Now, could there be a conspiracy on the commissioner level? Like the commissioner's trying to do something not successfully because you can't control the NFL, all the players, all the outcomes, all the higher level contests and props out there. You can't control any of that with you know, a handful of guys on the field trying to shape the game and not even coming close to the situation. But is there corruption? Could I see sometimes something breaking on Commissioner Roger Goodell did this or that? Absolutely possible. Those are one-off situations of corruption, not scripted NFL, not a rigged NFL where outcomes are already decided. You're talking about people that are probably going to get caught, or even if it was at the commission level, which I don't think the commission is I don't think the commission is doing that. I don't believe that. But if it was, it would be understandable. Human beings are involved. But this narrative that there's some big plan and shaping of game outcomes at a master level, in like Casey's supposed to be there, and all the Trevor Lawrence coming back, like that couldn't have been scripted. It couldn't have been scripted. And if it was scripted that they lose, the whoever was bought out did a real bad job trying to prevent that from happening. It's absolute madness. It's madness to me. Just like corruption, sure. Bad coach paid to lose games, that's going to happen. That's going to happen, and those people will get caught, and the Miami Dolphins don't have their 2023 first-round pick because there was corruption in Miami, and they were caught doing it. There's a lot of money to be made. I don't know that the NFL commissioner and is needing to go this route that a lot of people are explaining he's going, or that the mafia is involved in the NFL outcomes.
I think you know, the coaches probably won't ever get caught because at the end of the day, it's just another bad call. I made another bad call. That's it. And there goes that out the window. It was just a bad call on my part. That's all they're ever going to say, and that's all they ever say.
All right.
So
that's it. Ben, give a real quick answer to this, and then I'm moving on because this topic is definitely been, we've beat it like a dead horse.
Yeah, I was going, man. A couple things real quick. First, I wanted to back you up on the the underdog props and just betting props. The way first you explained that perfectly. The way that they balance the line.
Yeah.
But secondly, I wanted to add they make their money with the percentages. So, like for example, the 5-leg parlay, you're able to 20x your money. You can make 20 if you bet $10 on a 5-leg, you'll make 220x. But your actual odds of hitting that are only about 3%, 3.1%. So that's where they're making their money, is because we all believe we're smart and what
it is the line is put on each one of those. The line is pushed to the middle already, so the odds are 50-50 that you're going to get each one right individually, and then they couple 5 together, and it's like it's amplifying what they're already doing on an even bigger scale, more likely to lose scale. So you're correct, but it all is still rooted in each individual. Line is moved by the people, and you've got a 50-50 shot at getting it. That's what their goal is. It's always about getting it to the 50-50 point and then just raking in the vig. You know, so that's what it is all about.
1.9% vig on that. On each one. Well, they're really making about double. They're not double, but they take in almost half the money they could bet on those lines.
Okay.
only 3% of them hit.
Enough of the NFL
Hold on.
scripted. Yeah, let's move on from there.
Yeah,
Anybody
I
have any?
Sorry, can I get one last thing in real quick?
Yeah.
On like a little bit different topic, but I don't know if this is true or not, and I try not to think about it. And I agree with you. It's time to move on. But the last thing, and I tried not to think about this going into this weekend, but I had heard a few things from some conspiracy theorists that Vegas didn't want the Bengals or the 49ers in the Super Bowl, either team, because in weeks 4, 5, and 6, the odds that they were going to make it to the Super Bowl were there was very low odds, so people were getting a lot of money back for if they made that bet, and a lot of money poured in on both those teams in weeks 4, 5, and 6. And I didn't want to give it any credit, and I still don't want to think about it, but I don't know. A lot of money came in on those teams to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, bro, there's so much information and there's so many things out there that can make you draw conclusions to match any narrative you want. You know, and so there's so many plays. A game has so many plays and opportunities of disagreement that you could tell us any story you wanted just by looking for it. You know what I mean? So like this is why we bring the psychology to fantasy football as well. This is why your boy, who's got a psych degree, brings a lot of these topics, you know, here, because I think they're interesting. And I like applying psychology to fantasy football trade negotiations. We're going to do a whole lot more of that. But this is just the you're always going to have this till the end of time. There are people that still think the world is flat. It wouldn't surprise me if JT thought the world was flat. It is what it is. You know, it's fun to talk about. I had a good time talking about it, but I do want to move on. And I don't know that. Look, again, when you make a statement like that, I'm not saying you said this. You heard this. You're relaying it. So this is not against you, Ben. But when you say that Vegas didn't want the Bengals and the Niners, again, you have so many different casinos, so many different platforms, so many different scenarios. Maybe nobody at one casino bet a big amount on that. Maybe somebody came in like Mattress Matt, who loved one team so overwhelmingly more than any other person loved their team. He unbalanced that for that casino. So it's like it could go 1,000 different ways, and there's too many moving parts on even that level. Like there's no way. They'd have to all be run by one person, you know, for it to matter. Because Mattress Mac, he didn't play into that casino that took his $2 or $10 million bet. They had nothing to do with the other ones, and the other ones didn't have any bets like that going on. So it's craziness, man. All right, somebody.
Which casino it was. It was either Caesars or BetMGM that was being accused, but regardless, I don't even know if there's any substance. But I agree.
It's a fun topic though, but I think we've hit it enough. Someone give me another fantasy question.
I got one.
All right.
Have you guys discussed the implications of Mike McCarthy potentially taking over the Dallas offensive group and Kellen Moore going to the Chargers, which I'm really excited about him with Justin Herbert?
The question was McCarthy taking over?
Yeah, and then following up with obviously Moore going to the Chargers too. That's good for Herbert, I think.
Yeah, Moore
for basically two more.
Moore is a good move. I think it's a good move. Look, the Cowboys have a lot of problems. I don't think they're tied to Moore. I think the offense has been just one of the better offenses in the NFL for the last couple of years. Like they light it up. You know, it's just a matter of like this team as a whole. I don't like the idea of McCarthy taking Kellen Moore's duties, if that's what you're asking. I don't think that's
me either.
I don't think that's a good recipe at all, because it seems like McCarthy's the problem potentially. So why would you want to give him the keys to something that has been the only successful part? That overall, not decision making, not coaching related mistakes or unraveling here, unraveling there. Taking a quarterback in Dak, who I feel is very inconsistent prone, taking him and turning him into something special all year from a stat perspective. And I think Moore going to work with Herbert's good, because Herbert's a much better quarterback than Dak. Herbert needs some kind of shakeup. I just hope Moore wants to get weapons. I hope Moore doesn't look at Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and say, yeah, that's what we need. We're just going to keep what we got. I hope this guy goes and gets Hopkins from the Cardinals. And I'm a Cardinal fan. I don't necessarily want that from a Cardinal perspective, but I separate myself from Cardinal fandom. Hopkins will be a phenomenal acquisition for Moore and the Chargers. It will be one of the things I pump out there as a good landing spot, not necessarily what will happen because we don't know, but the Bears, the Patriots would be awful. That would be the demise of Hopkins. He'd be gone. He'd be put a nail in the coffin at that point from a fantasy perspective. I don't think that's where receivers go to die. I think Chicago and the Chargers would be the best landing spot for Hopkins. Trading for Elijah Moore, something like that, would be great for the Chargers. That's my thinking of it all. Anybody else?
What do you think about? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'll go after you.
What do you think about? I've been hearing, on news channels or whatever, a lot of hype about DeMeco Ryans or whatever coming to Houston.
DeMeco Ryan, he's going to be hired by. This is what I hit at the top of the show. Where is this at? DeMeco. Is this it right here? No, this is the salary cap, which increases, which is huge news for. I think it's right here. Yeah, DeMeco Ryans could be hired as the Houston coach by Tuesday or Wednesday. So by tomorrow or Wednesday, that should be announced. I think it's a good move for the Texans, who are still in rebuild mode. The Texans' draft pick in 2023 is 12. So you have the potential of Bijan maybe falling to 12. I think the Eagles will be absolutely crazy to pass on Bijan Robinson, adding that kind of dynamic to this offense. But you can see, I could see them trading up or getting lucky. Maybe his 40 time drops him to 12. But Bijan's special. He's projected to go top 12, unlike any other running back we've seen lately in the running back climate in the NFL drafts are now late first or second round. So he's going at 12, I think, for sure, if he falls there. And then you just build around this team and the defense, ground and pound defense, and then get that quarterback in there if you don't think Mills is the answer. Mills could be, but I think if you're put in position to grab a very good rookie, if one was to fall to 12, they might consider that as well. But DeMeco's going to have about a year wait before this team, starts being considered as a potential playoff, wild card earning squad. But it's not a bad home for him.
Who do you think pays Peyton $20 million a year?
It just depends on the compensation too. There's a lot of people that are, and especially New Orleans fans, they're blind and think they're going to get one of these top 10 or 12 picks in this current draft. No team's giving up a top 12 pick for Sean Payton and having to fork over cash. I don't know. I'd love it to be the Cardinals. I kind of felt like that was out the window when the Cardinals hired a GM before they hired Sean Payton, because a lot of people were projecting that Sean Payton would want to build his shop from the ground up, meaning choose a GM like Kyle Shanahan chose John Lynch and kind of created his environment he wanted from ceiling to floor. But maybe the GM loves him and they get along, and they're, Sean Payton's going to have some demands that maybe this GM will accept, like I'm in control of everything. I can't imagine Sean Payton's, accepting something where he wasn't, in full control of draft picks and trading and all that. But I just want a coach in Arizona that will consider trading Kyler Murray, which is going to sound crazy to a lot of people, but I don't know how tradable he is right now, but I think he's tradable when he's healthy. But hopefully they can get rid of him. And I would love for the Cardinals to keep the number 3 overall pick and find a way to get into another top. Like if they could trade Kyler Murray, I don't know what Kyler Murray's draft or trade capital would be, but if you could somehow trade him to the Texans, and maybe you have to give up another future pick or something, but to trade Kyler Murray out for one of Stroud or Young, I would do it in a heartbeat. I would do it in a heartbeat if it's me. I don't believe in Kyler. Not to mention he won't be ready for week 1.
Yeah, we don't want him.
Anybody else before I let you all go? Oh, we got an unknown caller on the line. Unknown caller on the line. Who are you? What can I do for you? You're live. Don't drop a bomb.
What's up, Smitty? This is BW. Been watching you for a while, man.
BW, what's up, my guy?
No, not much. I wanted to come from a different angle on the rig deal, but if you're done with that topic, I can call in another time.
Be as short as you can with it, and I'll let you go with it, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, the way that the NFL, the most of their money comes from what? TV contracts, right?
There's a lot of avenues, but I mean that's advertising is huge.
The TV contracts. They got like a $2 billion TV contract or whatever. But my point is that people will change the channel if Derrick Henry is just busting off continuous 70-yard runs and it's 42-0. So sometimes they may sway the games to stay closer to keep people tuned into the TV.
I just don't buy it. I just too many moving parts. There's too many moving parts. If you're telling me that the commissioner owns, let's say, 70% of the refs, and it's some huge club, like even if that was the case, which is your only argument, there's no way, 0% chance the players are involved, because that would get out. Let's just say that Roger Goodell, molded and sculpted this referee crew, and you don't have any legitimate refs in there, which would be insane. But if let's say he owns 70% of them, then could they manipulate some things? Yeah. Would it get out? Eventually it would. Eventually it would get out. But could you manipulate games? Yeah, but you'd even fail at that, bro, because you could only do so much, and not to mention it would be blatant. Like sometimes there's a blatant call that looks really bad, but you'd have blatancy all over, bro. It'd be blatant left, blatant right. It'd be so easy to tell that it was scripted.
That's what's happening lately with all these bad calls.
I don't think so.
Yep.
Give me an example of repeated blatant calls that shape something in this playoffs. Repeated.
The most easy call that everybody's mentioning in the chat is the holding call. You can call that on just about every play, and they'll call it when the game is not going according to flow, or they'll let it go when it is going according to flow. I'm not saying every single player is in on it. However, you can have a few moles that sign contracts to say, "I'll shut up. You pay my mama's house off. I'll shut up. You pay me so much money. I'll miss a catch. I'll throw an interception." You tell me Jared Goff is worth $100 million? He was in that Super Bowl against the Patriots. Watch the last 2 minutes of the second half and watch how bad that game was scripted. They didn't use any of their timeouts. I really would like you to go and pull that up sometime and watch the last 2 minutes of the Rams-Patriots Super Bowl, the second half. And it's just so obvious how they're not calling the timeouts. They're not calling the plays that you would call to stop the clock and get your team set. It kind of makes sense when you see it, especially at the Super Bowl level. Not all games, not all players, but certain events.
I appreciate your take, and your take is your take. I can't take that away from you, and that's great. That's a world we live in where you can have your own opinion, and I certainly don't think you're crazy to think that there's something fishy going on on an official level or whatever. I get it, but I just disagree. I watch every single game, bro. I've watched every single game. I've been looking at this from the highest level a person can from like an analyst perspective, because I don't have skin in the game, essentially. I'm watching every single game, and I'm telling you right now, I get zero vibes that there is a connected multiple referee corruption situation going on. If there is a ref that has been bought for one game by one individual, or by, let's say, the commissioner and some crazy conspiracy, I could see that happening, but I sense zero connection between multiple refs, zero connection between this game and that game, and the same ref being the same guy that shaped this or shaped that. Not to mention there's too many moving parts in a game to control an outcome on the regular without it being so blatant. I just don't get that sense. That's my opinion.
No, I hear you. The one counterpoint to that, though, is my old man has a connection with a Super Bowl winning head coach. And I asked him to ask that coach, could games be rigged? And that coach said, all you have to do is get two people in on it. And there's two people that touch the ball the most, and that is the quarterback and the center. And if you have a quarterback, the quarterback could miss on purpose. I mean, they're that good. They are that good.
Is there ever
Tom Brady? They're that good, and they could miss on purpose. And look how bad Tom Brady looked.
That's conspiracy deep, bro. That's deep conspiracy. That Tom Brady's not in it to win it. He's in it to take a. Bro, is it possible one player in the NFL, maybe someday we find out, oh my God, this guy was paid X amount of dollars to lose this game? Is that possible? 1,000% yes. That is one situation, though. The greater topic here is the NFL shaping who's winning the games as a whole. 0% for me. 0%. Is there one game that gets shaped? It could absolutely happen. One game here or there, even multiple games in a season, because the same ref's been doing it, let's just say. Like multiple games in a season, absolutely possible. But the NFL puppet strings, 0 vibes. I get 0 vibes that there's any connection between a lot of the things that people and people look for, especially fan bases, bro. Like you can't I don't know if you were on if you had some sort of fan connection to the holding call you're describing. Is there? Just be honest.
If there's a what? I'm sorry. The holding call?
A fan geared connection. Like you have some fandom going on. Like this is your team.
No. Here's what it is. My old man played quarterback at OU, and he watches the games and says you can just about call holding on any call. And so I asked myself, well, why don't they call it? Why do they call it? So it just seems like it could be up to the refs. And here's one other thing: whenever I played sports, and I know you played football, the ref with the white hat had the authority on the field. He had the final call. Now that ref goes over to some monitor, and somebody in New York makes the call. Why is that?
It's held under wraps. But I appreciate the conversation.
But why doesn't the ref in the white hat have the final say anymore?
Because they're doing replays, bro. It goes to a high level of camera angles and all kinds of ways to make sure it's more accurate. Like, could there be corruption up at the top level? Sure. Again, somebody could walk into the lead person's house the morning of the game and say, guess what you're doing? And takes his family into the pantry, ties him up and says, guess what you're doing today? Like, anything could happen. These are human beings, but there's no high level conspiracy where the NFL has got puppet strings on the NFL outcomes. Otherwise, Trevor Lawrence wouldn't have come back and won that game. Like, there's so many, or these slip through. Like, maybe there's Goodell. Let's say Goodell was caught a year from now, and this is just a joke and story. There's no accusation from me coming on Goodell. But let's just say everyone's right. And could I envision a world where Goodell's getting walked out in handcuffs with the Hernandez shirt over his back, and they're like, this guy was trying his best, and there are 4 or 5 games that we could pin this guy to. Like, could that happen? Sure, there could be a world where something happens and it gets botched constantly, and maybe a game or two were affected, but there's no way Goodell's sitting in his office with 10 other people that have kept quiet. And they're like, the Super Bowl is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Eagles. Okay, let's go. Let's go have a lunch. Let's go have a day. All right, everybody out of here. There's just no way. Corruption? Sure. Scripted? No. All right, enough of that topic. We've got a lot of people that want to get back to fantasy. They're getting tired of hearing about it, so...
Appreciate your time, Smith.
Yeah, hey, BW, you're a longtime listener. Appreciate you. And call in anytime, and let's talk fantasy next time.
Sounds good, brother.
All right, Ben, anything else you want to add? 20 seconds, no longer.
I have a fantasy question from a dynasty perspective. A dynasty, how do you compare Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, and Justin Herbert?
This is a good question. This is my number 5 quarterback in redraft and borderline 5 for fantasy. This is a 6 to 10 guy as we await his return to the top 5 to 6 because he was number 2 the year prior to this year and he completely flopped, and there's no reason we should put him back in the top 6 lock, top 6 to 7 lock consideration until he proves it. Maybe his new OC is going to help with that. This guy right here is in the same boat, not because he's bad, but because he's rising up, and we don't want to for sure put him any higher than 6 to 10. But the problem is you got A-Rod, you got Lamar if he lands in Miami, you got A-Rod if he lands in New York, or let's say A-Rod goes to Las Vegas to throw touchdowns to Devontae Adams again. You got such a big field in the 6 to 10 that it's not me being disrespectful. I'm putting 6 here, but I think we have to also put 10 because T-Law, there's just too many big names that could be on the move. But I think the guy that stands out the most, the guy that can have cups of coffee with the top 1 to 4 is Fields. He'll have a cup of coffee and be able to get into that tier on random occasion throughout the year. Whereas Herbert, we just got to wait and see. He could definitely do it too. T-Law feels 6 to 10. Herbs feels 6 to 10. Fields feels 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, that's where I agree with you from a redraft perspective. I think Fields has an edge on both of those guys in a redraft. But for Dynasty, I'm leaning toward T-Law, number 1, and Herbert, and then Fields. But I think Fields could have a great next 2 or 3 years.
So I said that from a redraft perspective. I'm sorry. You were wanting Dynasty. Dynasty, I would say, you could almost say 5 to 10. I don't think that T-Law can break into the top 4 for me, but I would say he can flirt with the 5 spot with Fields in Dynasty. So 1 spot different, but and Herbert, I don't know. It just depends on how he develops under this new OC and situation that I hope gets him more weapons. All right, Ben, appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I think.
Blind Larry.
Appreciate you, Smitty.
Yep, Blind Larry. Last question.
Is football considered sports entertainment?
Is football considered sports entertainment? It is a sport. It is definitely entertaining, so I'm going to say affirmative. I'm going to say that is a correct facts answer. Okay.
All right, cool. That's all I got to say, man. We'll talk to you later.
Appreciate you, Blind Larry. Call in anytime, pal. All right, Mikey. Last question, Mike.
Okay, Smitty, if you are the GM of the Houston Texans, who are you targeting for a quarterback?
They're at the 2 pick. I'm taking, as long as Bryce Young's combine, pro days, measurables all come in. There's conspiracy theorists that this is more of a likely conspiracy to be true, that he's 5'10", 5'9". There's so many people that say he's 5'9", 5'10". He's not 6 foot. If let's say he comes in at 5'11", I have a little bit of a concern. I'm gonna start looking into it a little bit, looking into the numbers, like how many sub 6 foot quarterbacks can have success. Kyler Murray is certainly one of them. I think people say he's 6 foot. I don't know. Kyler Murray's maybe 5'10", maybe, and there's concerns of him looking over the offensive line. So if I'm the Texans, I probably take Young at 2, and I think Young's most likely to fall at this point. That could change with combine and pro days and stuff. So I would say if I'm the Texans, that's what I do. Because the Texans aren't in win now mode. You go after another one of these free agent quarterbacks, even Lamar. You go after Lamar. Lamar's not going to want to go there, so he will refuse to be franchise tagged and traded to Houston anyway. He would say no, and Houston would then say, "Well, we're not trading for a tagged individual that's refusing to sign a long-term deal." So there's no option. It is go after a young quarterback. They're at the 2 pick. It's locked in. They're taking one of those 2 quarterbacks, in my mind, guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in rebuild mode fully. All right, Mikey. Appreciate you, pal.
Thank you, buddy. Have a good night.
Yeah, call in anytime. All right, I'm out of here. Appreciate every single one of you. Hit that thumb up button on your... Oh, wait. Did we get to 100 on the Moon Man? Where's Penguin? Did we get to 100 on the Moon Man? Penguin, where are you at? Where's Penguin at? Penguin says, scratching for the Moon Man 10. We're at 73. Guys, there's a pinned link in the live chat. If you want Moon Man number 10 tonight, you need to hit that link. You need to give a full star review. And once we get to 100, your boy Smitty's dropping a Moon Man tonight. What are we at, Penguin? Can you give me an update? Click that link Who wants a Moon Man? Who wants Moon Man number 10? We've got to get to 100. That's the challenge. Let's see if I can refresh it. Penguin, let me know, pal. I think we're like 10 away or something like that. So hit that link right now, guys. Hit that link. Drop it. Let's get to 100. Appreciate you all. I looked but can't find how to rate it. Great show, Smitty. Even though you hate it, I didn't hate on me. Hate on you, JT. You were tripping yourself up in the chat by being negative. We've already explained this to you. It's your approach. It has nothing to do with your topic at hand. The conspiracies, all that, you can have those. You just have to be polite to people. You're saying people are ignorant. Then you're trying to explain to people that they're ignorant about the word ignorant. You just don't realize how you come off, JT. Like, start looking in the mirror, bro, and say to yourself, why are you at the root of all the problems in the chat? Is this the way it is at work? Is this the way it is at home? Just start being more kind and agreeable to being open-minded to other people's takes and ideas too. Your ideas and takes aren't the only take. I know sometimes I'm hard-lined on a stance. It happens, but it seems like you have a negative vibe and you're stirring the pot, bro. That's what it comes down to. Thank you, BW. Appreciate you. What are we at? How many reviews we got? Hit that link in the live chat. It's pinned. It's pinned. I speak the truth, my friend. I live in a soft. That's kind of what we're saying, bro. You're underhanded. Like, you speak the truth. It is what it is. There's no, I know I say that and then I get mad at a certain topic where I say 0% chance. I get that, but I feel like I don't say the words you say, and that's why people have a problem with it, bro. I'm not going to explain it again. You understand why. Yeah, if you don't understand, you don't understand why everybody is bothered by your approach, JT. Your approach is the problem. No one cares about facts. You can spit all the facts that you think are facts out all you want if you're classy about it and not trying to stir the pot. People don't care if your take is different than theirs. It's not about you keep focusing on accuracy of what you think you're saying, which is your opinion, not facts. It's your opinion. So just I'm done talking about it. What's the rating at? What are we at? Are we at 100 yet? Are we doing a Moon Man? I'm going to keep checking. If we hit 100, link is pinned right now. Do it. If we hit 100, we're dropping a Moon Man tonight. If we don't, we don't. Appreciate you. Drop a thumb up on the way out the door. I'll see you all potentially later tonight with a Moon Man. Travis dropping a 4-star review. It sounds like we're about 18 away. Thank you, Mitch. Appreciate you. Thank you, Ian. Appreciate you. Thank you, Travis. Thank you, Blind Larry. Danger, appreciate you. Sam. Hans, appreciate you. Maybe we'll have a Moon Man tonight. We're about 18 away. People need to click that link, pull their weight. Let's go.